I remember when this album came out because I was like, oh, that's random. Like, I'll go listen to a new He Is Legend album. And then I heard the first song, Wipe At, and I was like, they're back.
Somebody hit somebody!
Am I doing this?
Yeah, you're doing it. It's your band.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm joined with Trevor. And we're starting off real strong, I guess. Call. How you doing, man?
Good, man. No time to mess around. Gotta get right into this thing.
I mean, there's quite a bit of music, I guess, to talk about today. So
There is.
yeah, but
There is.
no, man. How you been? What do you have going on? I feel like we haven't been able to do this in a little bit
It's been a while.
because we've just had obviously I'm not complaining about this, but we've just had like a bunch of interviews and stuff, which have been a ton of fun, but we haven't really had a chance to like actually chat. So, you know,
No, for sure. I mean, so the interviews that we had lined up, we had Contention last week. Before that, we had Soul Exchange.
and
And
Darasum.
Darasum.
Yeah.
Or what? Darasum, then Soul. I don't know what. We had those three recently.
Yeah.
So, which all three were freaking awesome.
Yeah. It just makes you feel real good inside knowing that like we're in good hands with music,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So
Yeah. Like everyone there they were super cool. Had a ton of fun with them. Like it was easy to talk to all five of them. It was
Yeah.
great. So,
yeah.
but no, I mean, over here, like we're just hanging out. We're chilling. We're getting ready for the holidays. We didn't even get to do a Thanksgiving episode. We've been so busy.
I know.
So like we had Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff. Like, did you get roasted again by your son?
Dude, he's been saying crap like that all the time. Well, what made me mad too is like all Thanksgiving, my wife was like, man, this turkey's so good because my brother-in-law made it. So I was just like joking around. I was like, oh, so you like his turkey more than mine. And like she didn't freaking deny it. So now I'm just like, I'm never gonna cook turkey again. I'm never doing it. So we're gonna eat other food for Thanksgiving. Screw turkey. I'm never doing it again.
Oh
So,
man.
yeah, but you
case
were
you-
like,
In case
you're
you
like
guys missed
400
it.
people.
Yeah. Right.
What
But
were you saying?
your son roasted you last year to the doctor about cooking a dry turkey.
Yeah.
So
No, I get. He's like, he says he hates turkey, and I'm sure it's my fault somehow. Even though, look, you guys, like, if you don't believe me, come try it. Like, I will not turn you away from the door next Thanksgiving. So if y'all want to show up, like, let's do Thanksgiving, and I will prove myself that it is not a dry, gross turkey. So, go.
but no, I'm calling him out. We did not get a Thanksgiving song from Interpersonal. And I'm going to make sure that I call them out when I talk to them next week too.
Yeah.
So, by the way, we're having Interpersonal back to talk about their new album, which is awesome.
It's really good.
I've been listening to it a bunch because we have them coming on, and it's just so different. Like it goes a bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
You have kind of that. I mean, how do you even describe it? So you got like the post-hardcore feel, you got a little bit of the pop punk feel, but you almost start to get into like a little bit of like grunge
So
type of stuff.
it's a like late 90s post-hardcore.
Yeah.
album. That like, because I feel like a lot of those old like late 90s post-hardcore bands experimented with like jazz and all this stuff. Like I think of like old Boy Sets Fire. Like you never knew where Boy Sets Fire was going to go. It could
That's
be
true.
like a ska song almost, right? Like they had
That's
songs
true.
with horns in it and then like a straight hardcore song. So it's very reminiscent of like old school post-hardcore, which I'm down with.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I feel like they just did what they wanted to do. And I know that most artists will say that, right? But if you're a hardcore band, you're playing hardcore songs typically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this kind of goes all over the place. And when we talk about He Is Legend today, it's going to go all over the place. And I have a ton of respect for bands that do that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they are, I don't care. They're just like, we're going to throw this super heavy song in. Then we're going to have this like silly pop song kind of thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and it all fits. It's
Yeah.
great. So
Yep. No, I agree. So I won't be able to make it next week. So I hope it goes well. Obviously they're in small, good hands with you, but I will not be going because I will be at a local benefit show here in Dallas. It's a 2-day thing, but I'm only gonna be able to make it on Sunday. But Will to Live's playing, and then Spit My Rage is playing that day. They're a local band that I think we've talked about, and then a couple really cool DFW bands that I'm sure we'll get around to talking about. But Blood Money is one, and then Visions of Mortality. So, and
yeah.
there's a few other that I've forgotten. I'm still learning, but I'm really pumped about this. And it's a toy drive, so you show up with a toy, you get in. Like, there's just so much respect in this scene, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what other
for
scenes
real.
are doing like an all-day festival with toy? Like, you get them free with a toy, you know?
Right.
It's just,
And
it's
if you're
awesome.
listening to this, it was yesterday. So
Good
hopefully
point.
you showed up with the toy.
Yeah, I will show up with a toy. Yeah, and it'll be a good time. I'm super excited to see Will to Live because like I've discovered all this Texas hardcore and they're at like the top of my list for one of the greatest Texas hardcore bands. So I'm pumped to see it.
For real. For real. So, but any other like new music or anything else? I know
Well,
you've been like deep diving Texas a lot. So,
yeah, not necessarily new music, but I did go to the Story So Far
oh, that's right.
on
Yeah.
Sunday, and I think I was telling you like it's just not worth the money to see them anymore.
So disappointing.
He
Like,
stood
that's
there.
so sad.
I sent you the video. He stood there, or maybe I haven't sent it to you. I will send it to you. But he stood there literally with his hands in his pockets singing.
Like,
For like
I
multiple
don't know,
songs.
man. Like,
Maybe
I
there's something going on. Maybe he's got like health issues or something. I don't know that I believe that because I just saw him run around on stage for No Pressure at Furnace Fest. But
even that though, it wasn't like running around. Like, he
that's
actually
true.
moved, but he wasn't like running around. I feel like the last show that I saw him, and maybe I was just super stoked about all the stage divers and stuff, but that show that they did for their album release, that was the small club in like New York or something with Koyo.
Yeah.
That show looked sick.
Yeah.
And like it looked like they were having fun up there. It looked like he was having fun up there. Maybe I'm, like I said, a little bit misremembering that because I just thought the show itself looked cool. But I don't know. Maybe they just need to go back to being a little club band.
I mean, they can't.
They can. They can.
Okay. They can. You're right.
So
But like just
150 cap room.
just looking at like the people that showed up too, it sucks. But they're just like a TikTok band now, you know?
Yeah.
Like
That's
no
too
one
bad.
was moshing, no one was really doing anything. Like there were a handful of crowd surfers. I tried to crowd surf and then fell and like ripped this dude's shirt like off his shoulder because I was not going down without like some help. So if that dude's listening, my bad. But yeah, other than that, like it just I don't know, kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
Super Heaven, I think is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw them live without listening to them first because I
Yeah.
don't think I would have liked them if I had listened to them. I mean, it's still not music that like I'm gonna just like listen to, but they were cool live.
Yeah.
No issues with it, And then I only caught 2 songs from Koyo because Ticketmaster sucks, and I wish all the worst things in the world for Ticketmaster. So
Which this episode is not sponsored by Ticketmaster. So
yeah, good.
Screw you guys.
We never will be either. I don't care how big we are. We never will be. So.
Oh man. But so I caught the Census Fell and oh my gosh, what are they called? Saves the Day tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. That was fun. Pardon the interruption.
It's all right.
Small child running through. Anyways, so I caught Census Fell and Saves the Day. Saves the Day was super dope. Census Fell I was a little bit disappointed in. Now they played all of Let It Enfold You, which I feel was the saving grace to the set, but Buddy oversings right now. Like the way he was singing the songs and stuff, like there was just something to it that
trying too hard.
It almost felt like that. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was a little bit strange, but Let It Enfold You is like a monumental album for me. As stupid as that sounds to everyone who's listening to this, I love that album. So I sat there
Cool.
and I sang my heart out through the entire set. It was great. So
Good.
but
That's cool. It's cool. It's a cool show to see.
yeah,
You know, I was never the hugest Census Fail fan, but I do remember that album very well.
yeah.
Then Saves the Day. Like, how do you not go see them too? You
Oh,
know?
it was awesome.
So,
And
yeah.
he just sounded good. Like it was great.
Cool.
In terms of like new music coming out, we got a new Thursday song,
Mhm.
White Bikes.
It was good. I liked it. I think the one they did before was better.
I like White Bikes more. So that's
Oh, really?
interesting.
Interesting. It was good
Yeah.
though. I like it. Felt like a War All the Time song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can see that. But no, I really liked it. What else did we got like 3 new songs that day.
dude,
What else did we get?
I don't remember.
Oh well.
We're
We got a new Under Oath,
oh yeah, that's the worst thing ever.
which if you've seen the music video, they open the pit up, guys. Open it up.
I did not watch the music video, and I never will. I will never support any of those songs. I don't care. So
Oh man, it's so sad. I love Under
really
Oath
is.
so much when they're old Under Oath. So
yeah, I've not been paying attention to new music that much. So
yeah,
I'm sorry guys. This
No.
episode's kind of whack with that because I don't know. I don't even know new tours. I don't know.
there
I'll
was
do
a
better next
lot
time.
announced for the spring. We'll come like with a list next time.
I guess
we
the
do
only
one of
one's the
these.
Poison the Well.
Ooh, that one's
That
insane.
one looks. It's got like Glassjaw.
Poison the Well,
and-
Glassjaw, Better Lovers,
Yeah.
and sorry, other band I can't remember right now.
Yeah.
Teenage Wrists.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
that'll be
looks
fun.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, opposite of December.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
It's gonna
It'll
be
be cool.
wild.
Yeah.
So that's a super solid one. There's a bunch of shows coming through, like March through. It's pretty much February, March, and April that I've seen currently.
Yeah, I know that Silverstein Thursday tour is coming through here in January, so I'll be hitting that
Yeah,
up, most likely. So
yeah.
but,
No, that one will be solid. So
before we get into He's Legend, though, I got a couple funny things I wanted to ask you.
okay.
So did you see that Liquid Death just released a pit diaper
No.
sponsored by like Depends? It's like, go look it up, dude. It's this like black leather like diaper thing, and it's $75 and it's sold out. Like, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about,
First
go
mosh pit diaper.
go look at Liquid Death's website and look at their mosh diaper. I mean, you're getting beat up if you wear that to a show, right?
It's straight up just like a leather chastity belt.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's so weird. Like,
Gosh, Dave.
why?
It's like this is a real thing.
Yeah, it's on their website, dude. You can buy it, and supposedly they're sold out.
The diaper is endorsed by drummer Ben Kohler of Converge, Mutoid Man, and All Pigs Must Die. The show can't be stopped for a bathroom break, Kohler told Consequence of Sound. With the pit diaper, I can hydrate without missing a beat. There you go.
Dude. What's the saying? Like, each day we stray farther and farther from God. Like, seriously, man.
Oh, man.
The other thing is, so today I was talking to my wife. She was like on some Facebook group. I don't know. It was like some mom Facebook group. Some lady was sharing some story of her daughter that like wakes up at night, but like can't move. Like her eyes are open, but like can't move and like sees stuff, which is 100% sleep paralysis, right? Like,
Or
if people
possession.
Okay, but it's not possession. Okay, so you say that though, but like her bottom comment after telling that was like, well, she doesn't do anything bad. She just listens to this band called My Chemical Romance. And everyone on the comments is like, that's Satan music. She's inviting the devil in. And that's why she's
Oh,
having this.
man.
And it's like, there were more of those comments than like people that are like, no, like she's got sleep paralysis. I used to have sleep paralysis. And so I know, like, it was like 100%. Those are the symptoms. It's not because of, well, maybe it is maybe I don't have sleep paralysis. Maybe it is the devil music that I listen to. I don't know.
We've invited the devil for years.
Yeah, but I just sat here laughing because I told my wife, I was like, if My Chemical Romance is devil music, then like,
What have I gotten into?
Like, holy cow, that's like some of the most vanilla emo music, you know?
Yeah, for real. I mean, even like He Is Legend.
Exactly.
We'll talk about this. Like, it sounds all poppy and happy and stuff, but they're freaking murdering children, stalking people. Like, you freaking don't know. So,
I don't know, dude. Me and my wife were laughing pretty hard that it's like My Chemical Romance inviting the devil in, and that's why she's having these things. It's like freaking wild.
But 100%, that was my mom growing up. So.
Yeah. And look at how you turned out, like a friggin' Satan worshiper, and you sacrifice animals on the weekends.
Exactly. So turned out great.
Yeah, but I don't know, dude. Just some funny stuff. So
that's wild.
But all right, we got a lot of music to talk about. We'll get into the band. So we're talking about He Is Legend. I think a lot of this was spurred from the fact that we were able to see them at Furnace Fest, which they were incredible, and they played not just their best album, but arguably a top 10 album from that genre, right? I mean, I Am Hollywood will go down as one of the greatest.
It is for me. I mean, people can fight me on that. Like, I love I Am Hollywood. It is absolutely incredible, front to back. And like we were talking about, it's everywhere. You have fast, chaotic, southern riffs. You have heavy freaking breakdowns, and you have like super chill songs in there. It gets wild.
So they formed in like the early 2000s. A bunch of them, like, I guess, knew each other from school, at least the guys that started it, right? It's crazy to think. One of the things that we've talked about before with this band, and just to reiterate, is it's crazy to think about how early they were in all of this.
Yeah.
2004. So the 91025, did that come out in 2004?
It did. But prior to that, I mean, they were Stronghold, No One Wins, the Uriah Omen. And like, you can find most of that stuff on YouTube still. Yeah. It is still reminiscent of He Is Legend.
You 100%, the bands that came before He Is Legend, you 100% understand where they get their sound.
Yeah.
100%, right? Before we get into 91025, this idea of like Southern hardcore, Southern metal, Southern rock, like, we're huge fans of it. We've always talked about that. We've done an episode on Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
Yep.
Big fans of all these bands, right? One thing though that like and we'll get into it later in the albums with He Is Legend. One thing that I've always appreciated though is it never came off as gimmicky. Like, I loved Maylene. I still love Maylene. I listen to it all the time. But like, there's one dimension to Maylene.
Yes.
Right? And I don't want to say gimmicky, but it's like Maylene is what Maylene is, and there's no additional anything there. You know what I mean?
Right.
He Is Legend is not that.
No, they go all over the place. They, like I was just saying, they have some of the heaviest breakdowns. They have some of the nastiest Southern riffs. Yeah. And then they have some like the smoothest like blues guitar. Music, yeah. And then as you get into their later stuff, you start to get into like sludge metal. You starting to get into like stoner rock, like all that kind of stuff. Like, it starts getting like more grit, more grimy. Listen, I'm going to have to eat my words a little bit from the text I sent you earlier. Like, there's a lot of music where it's just weird.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like it, but I've listened to all albums like 3 or 4 times through over the last few days. I can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best way to say it. Like, I don't know if I like it, but I don't know if I don't like it. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
one of those things
See,
where, like, there's a part where I'm just like, ugh, but then immediately it has the sickest breakdown right after it. I'm like, okay,
no.
I can see why that was right there.
I mean, they're not like their later stuff's not like perfect albums. And they're not like my favorite albums of theirs either. It's just like I was saying before, you can appreciate the growth that they tried to have with this music,
Yeah.
right? Because it's very easy to be a Maylene and be pigeonholed into a single sound and then only make, 3 albums. And even Maylene, you look at their 4th album and it's like they tried, but I don't think they succeeded. Whereas you
No.
could point to He's Legend and be like, they did all of it, and you may not like it, but they did it well.
They did. And you may not like it, but other people do.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. There's still an audience for it. It's not like they just fell off the face of the map.
Arguably, they got more popular with what's the fruit one? Heavy Fruit.
Yeah, Heavy Fruit.
Like, I read a lot online that people were like, my introduction to He's Legend was Heavy Fruit. That's the sound I resonate with. I love it. It's awesome. And I mean, that's not me because, like, again, I Am Hollywood is one of the greatest albums ever written.
Right.
But a lot of people like really resonate with that. So, I think you and I are going to come at this band from a perspective of nostalgia because we got introduced to it at 91025 and I Am Hollywood. But I'm on the same boat, dude. Like, I listen through all this stuff and I'm like, I don't know if I like it, but I can't say it's bad.
Right.
Where there's other bands that have written, Under Oath, for example, changed their sound. It's not good.
Right.
It's not good. But this is different. They changed their sound, but it's good. I just don't know if I like it. So that's my soapbox still about them. So
100%. And I agree with what you just said there.
So Skylar, the vocalist, did an interview I was watching on YouTube where he was talking about writing White Bat, the album.
Okay.
And he was saying that, like, we went into his studio and he's like, all the people practicing or whatever next to us are all just, he's like, it's all just blast beats right into breakdowns, blast beat, breakdown, blast beat, breakdown. And he's like, we will never be that band. We want to sing arty, creative music that feels like us. That's not just, this sound. And so I respect it,
100%. Nope. I'm right there with you.
Cool. So let's jump into 91025. That's their first album and released in 2004. It's not as well produced as I Am Hollywood. What's interesting about this album is that this album feels like an album that was written in 2004.
Yeah.
It feels very much like the post-hardcore scene in 2004.
Right.
Kind of emotional, emo-y sounding. It's not as heavy. There are heavy parts, but it's not as heavy. It very much feels like other 2004 albums.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. They really pick up the Southern once you hit I Am Hollywood. So, like, this is like, you can tell that they're starting to get their groove, especially coming off of the band right before this was the Uriah Omen. And the Uriah Omen we were talking about today sounds very reminiscent of this album. So I wish I would have done a little bit more research about early He Is Legend and stuff like that to kind of know like where they were pulling influence from and what was going on at the time. But some of their early tours were with like Between the Buried and Me, and we talk about them all the time. It starts with an A. They're from North Carolina too. Advent and stuff like that. So like those are heavy bands for these guys to be playing post-hardcore. So it must have just been like the scene at the time. You know what I mean? Which is interesting, knowing where they go from here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like what's funny is like, you could probably study where the crossovers are in genres throughout the last 20 years, because like post-hardcore and hardcore bands played all the time together.
Yeah.
back around this time, right? Late 1990s, early 2000s. And then I feel like post-hardcore kind of dies a little bit with the actual hardcore influence, and then it's like metalcore and hardcore are with each
Yeah.
other. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised to see they toured with heavier bands, but 91025, like, yeah, it felt like the song Scram Tools sounds like a song that you would hear on like Senses Fail or a Silverstein album at that time. Because I think Let It
Yeah.
Unfold You, I think that's 2004.
Yes.
Artists in the Ambulance is close to that. War All the Time's close to that. They're Only Chasing Safeties, 2004. Like 91025 fits right in with all those albums.
Yeah, I think your Silverstein comparison right there is pretty spot on. Silverstein and who was the band I was just thinking of? A Static Lullaby. They come to mind.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were all contemporaries at that time.
Yep.
Like that's when all this music is coming out. So, and the funny thing is, most of those bands stuck in that post-hardcore route. And there weren't too many who strayed into what we're going to be talking about. And if they did stray, they either pulled the Mailing and went full Southern, or they pulled like the Every Time I Die and got more chaotic.
Yeah. But even then, like the last couple, well, again, that's the other thing is like the last couple Every Time I Die albums, you could relate a little bit to some of these He Is Legend albums. But again, He Is Legend is doing this before people.
Exactly.
Because I don't really have much else to say about 91025. It's a good album. It's just like I have a closer attachment to people like A Static Lullaby or Thrice or whatever that I'm going to listen to that. If it's this kind of sound, I'm going to listen to He Is Legend for I Am Hollywood.
I mean, I'll be honest, like I Am Hollywood is on a pedestal of its own. And then I put like Suck Out the Poison and It Hates You together. And I'd actually probably put White Bat in there too.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. And then I would put the rest of them just kind of grouped together. Like I'll listen to all of them. Like I just had He Is Legend on shuffle earlier today. And I was just listening to all of it. You know what I mean? Like it didn't matter. Yeah. It's good, but like it's definitely lower on the list for sure.
Yeah. It's cool.
But it's a good album.
But to go from that to I Am Hollywood is again just one of the most insane transitions to an album. And it's supposedly the same year, which is crazy that like their sound would change like that and the production gets so much better. But this album, dude, like we're going to spend probably the rest of the time talking about this album.
Yeah.
Because like it's perfect. Like it's a 10 out of 10. Everything about it is just perfect.
I mean, we can end the podcast there.
That's true.
Like, no, for real. I don't know where to start with this album. That first intro on the Seduction, it sucks you in so hard. If you are into any sort of like fast rock, punk, anything that like treads the kind of hardcore lines, but like the post-hardcore lines, this immediately catches your attention. And his vocals, he is one of my favorite vocalists of this time.
Yeah.
I absolutely love his tones on his clean, and he has the most ridiculous growls, like low and then highs. He could have been a deathcore vocalist.
Yeah.
Like there's deathcore vocalists who would have killed to have his range. And it's insane that he does all of it.
Yeah. So I don't even remember how we found this album, but I was not listening to it in 2004. It was probably a year or two later that we found this.
Probably. Yeah. I don't remember exactly where we found it, but
maybe, I don't know.
It probably was.
It just blows my mind to think that this album came out in 2004. Nobody was doing this.
You know what? We probably were listening to this in 2004 because I pretty much remember when Suck Out the Poison came out and going up and picking a copy of that up. But we had been listening to He Is
That's
Legend
true.
for a long time up
That's
to
true.
that point.
Okay, that's fair. But still,
So
it blows my mind to think that this album came out in 2004.
my
No,
guess is that we probably caught them on a show, or they were coming through with someone.
maybe.
They had to have been.
Yeah. No one was doing the sound at that time though. Nobody was doing the just like that aggressive of a Southern sound, but also the uniqueness of the album. Like I don't know. The seduction comes right in. It's this really fast singing part, and then all of a sudden, like the note hangs, and then it just goes into this crazy breakdown.
Yeah.
And it just catches you. This whole album just catches you so off guard because you
Right.
never know what's coming next in any of the songs. It could be this like incredible singing part, like in China White, and then all of a sudden it just like whiplashes into one of the nastiest breakdowns you'll ever hear. It's incredible.
Right. Well, and again, what you're saying about the seduction, it goes from that opening riff to the breakdown to like nice, clean singing.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
And it's so weird. Like the album supposedly is about it's about Hollywood and the creepy side of Hollywood and what people go through to make it in Hollywood and what can happen with the terrible things in Hollywood, you know? But it's so creative how they do it because it's not just this like gory, gross album. Like it's creative. You really do like some of the songs, like Dinner with a Gypsy, like lyrically and what they're singing about. It just fits with the music because it's just so weird. And you can just picture yourself like some like rundown person in Hollywood, like with a bunch of random people. And you're just like, yeah, this is probably exactly how I would be feeling in that situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. It's just like the one thing I did read about Skylar is like the way that he writes his lyrics is he doesn't, I'm sure that there are personal things in there, but he wants to be a storyteller.
Yeah.
Like he currently, in addition to doing He Is Legend, he like works on films and stuff like that. He is just truly artistic.
Yeah.
So everything that you read here, everything you hear here, it's just a story. And you see that when they go and they do multiple callbacks to albums. Like when we talk about Suck Out the Poison, the very first song recalls. Yeah, exactly. It calls back to the seduction.
Yeah.
They have China White 1, 2, and 3. There's on the most recent album, Return to the Garden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if you follow the China White story, it's all about a gardener. It's all about being in the garden and stuff like that. Everything like comes full circle, and he has like this immersive world that he's just like playing in kind of thing. And it's creepy, but it's freaking dope.
It's creepy, but it's like, it's just the level of talent is just unbelievable. Like all their songs are so unique and they're so creative, and they hit every nail on the head that you want in a band from this genre. Like again, just talking about the seduction, like the bridge part with that really weird ambient guitar where he's like kind of chugging. It's like, you know, and it's just like that's so random.
Yeah.
You know, and then it goes like right back into like a kind of breakdown and stuff. And then he sings. I don't know. Like it's musical whiplash, but in the greatest sense of it, you know?
And the thing is, like, when you had these lyrics as like, I don't want to say they're disturbing, right? Because we listen to like way weirder and worse stuff than this. But like when you start like thinking about what he's talking about, conceptualizing it and stuff, you could have packaged this like a Census Fell. You could have packaged this like a Silverstein. Bands like that, where the music is what people would consider emo. You know what I mean?
Right.
These are some of the most emo lyrics out there.
Right.
The stories he's telling.
Yeah.
But it's packaged in a way that like, if you're just like sitting there like jamming in your car, you have like good feelings inside.
Like the next song, Eating a Book. Like it's just a catchy, fast, like bouncy song, you know?
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
The one that I keep thinking of is The Greatest Actor Alive and Dead or Dead. He has that part. It's like, I left my mouth wide open.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, it reminds me of you choking. It's just like you can sit there, you can just be like singing along, like dancing along. It's just like such a like fun beat, like poppy almost. And it's just like, but it's like
It's
weird.
also choking.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
China White though, dude,
oh, dude.
the chorus where he's singing like "You better get a gun" because I see
Yeah.
them watching. Like even just that chorus, you're just like, it's just so well done, you know.
Yeah.
But then you're right, like the lyrics kind of hit, and you're like, oh, but he's watching you, like.
Oh yeah. No,
Song's
it's
weird, man. You
creepy.
know?
The
Yeah.
only other like, and I know there's a bunch of these bands, but the other song, and this is gonna be super weird for me to throw this out there, but another one of these like songs where you don't really pay attention to how gruesome the lyrics can be is that Pumped Up Kicks.
Oh yeah,
That song is nasty.
it is.
Like
That's
when you think about it, it's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
And I remember like back when American Horror Story first came out. Did you ever watch American Horror Story?
No.
So I watched like the first 2 or 3 seasons of it. I didn't watch all of it, but the first season, and I don't really want to talk about this, but I'm going to. But one of the characters ends up being a school shooter. And it was like kind of right when that song came out. And the only thing I could think when he's walking around the school is the Pumped Up Kick song. It was
Yeah.
playing through my head. I was just like, how creepy would that have been if they were playing Pumped Up Kicks and that was what was going on?
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, it just sent like chills down my spine. And reading through the lyrics of He Is Legend, you get chills down your spine. You know what I mean? It's a story every time, and it's a weird story.
Yeah. So obviously you can't talk about this album without talking about the song "I Am Hollywood,"
Oh,
which
dude.
I don't know. There's like maybe a handful of songs that like cause me to just go into an absolute frenzy.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. And it did at Furnace Fest because when they finished, like I like was pretty upfront at Furnace Fest because I wanted to sing along and stuff. Cause like, yeah, there's moshy parts and stuff, but like you just kind of in the groove listening to these guys until that guitar intro to I'm Hollywood. And then I turn around and just like,
Oh, I have video.
awesome people.
I've got video of it.
Yeah. And so it was, I mean, that song was a bloodbath because people were just going nuts, but it's one of the greatest songs ever written. I mean, it's incredible. The storytelling in the song is incredible. The breakdown where it stops and it's like, I am, and then starts low.
Yeah, it just goes
Hollywood.
low.
Oh, dude. Like it's just, it's unbelievable.
Dude, it's insane. This song, they need to like, they could make an entire like show just out of this song. And it would be insane. It would be absolutely awesome. But what they're talking about there is just like Hollywood, just like the corruption and like absorbing people and just like taking it over and stuff. Like the kidnapper is at Comfort Inn. Like you're living out of a motel.
Yeah.
Like you're trapped by this thing that is Hollywood. And it's just dude, we could gush over this album for another half an hour.
Seriously.
Needless to say, like when we decided to go to Furnace Fest, I said this was the album that I wanted to see played. This was the set that I wanted to watch. It did not disappoint. I cannot believe how happy I was watching He Is Legend play all of I Am Hollywood.
Yeah.
It is like, it's forever going to be ingrained on, and we've talked about the Seduction already, but I have the video. It's the one that I posted from Furnace Fest when it's, we'll go down to the river. We look better off dead. Mm-hmm. Everyone's hands are in the air. Everyone's singing with him. Like, oh my gosh, dude. It's so absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I just have such fond memories of listening to this album with like all of our friends too. I mean,
yes,
sure. Being 15, 16 or whatever, when it listening to it. Like we were always listening to this. We saw them every time they came through.
Right.
Like just great memories of this band and this album. The last thing I want to bring up about this album, which I thought was interesting, is this is on Solid State.
Yeah. And they have some interesting thoughts about starting out on Solid State and the trajectory of their band. So, I mean, I don't know how much you read about it and stuff, but they feel like they got a little bit blackballed from doing some of that stuff, some of their early tours. The biggest thing was, I guess in 2000, I think it was 2006, they had a friend pass away, like a really close family friend, and they left a tour to return home. And that was like with, I think it was Silverstein and Under Oath, and they don't feel like they ever really recovered from that. Like they felt like people like wouldn't put them on the big tours, wouldn't put them on the big packages and things along those lines. And they feel like it was pretty detrimental. I mean, they obviously made it to about 2009, but in 2009, they basically broke up.
Yeah.
They went on indefinite hiatus at that point. So
Yeah.
it is interesting.
So they almost broke up after the next album. Like when they were recording it, they almost broke up and it wasn't gonna release. So
well, that's 2006. I think that's all when this stuff went down.
It was all happening.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I just like we've talked about all these bands and stuff about being whatever, the Christianity stuff. Solid State obviously is a big label into that. They're not. I don't think they've ever.
No, not at all.
Right?
No. And really why they joined it is because it was like the bands who they wanted to tour with. It was Norma Jean. It was the Advents. It was stuff like that. They were all part of Solid State. And they're like, that's who we play with locally. That's who we are friends with. So sure, let's just hop on that label. And very clearly they said, we never portrayed that. If there was a bar at the venue, you better believe we were at the bar.
Yeah.
You better believe we're out smoking with the kids and stuff like that. So
I mean, one of the worst shows I ever saw was He Is Legend when they opened for Dragon Force, and the singer was so drunk he couldn't even sing. So all right. Anyways, next album, Suck Out the Poison. This is 2006, and I liked this album when it came out. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I do now.
Okay.
It's a solid album. I really like it. They go full Southern. I still feel like they kept their flavor though. Like they didn't go full Maylene on it. It's just feels like they leaned into the Southern parts of what they are, right?
Yeah. The one thing that I read about this that someone said, and I kind of agree with it, is they said that this album felt a little bit more grimy.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with that. There's just that a little bit more Southern kind of dirt rock,
Yeah.
They just lean into it a little bit, This is where Skylar starts to experiment with his voice a little bit more too. Like the production on I Am Hollywood, he has an incredible voice, but they had to have done something to it. It's way too good throughout that entire album.
Yeah.
This album doesn't have all of that. It doesn't have all the production.
Well, it's still Solid State. I don't know, man. Like if he's making comments, he's out there smoking, and then like screaming is not good for you. So like, I wonder if part of it is just like vocal burnout.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know that you can do that again, but I will say that, and we've talked about this with a lot of other bands, like coming off of an album like I Am Hollywood, I'm kind of glad they didn't just try to do an I Am Hollywood 2.0.
Right.
And again, this is why we give so much credit to this band, is because like they have no problems changing their sound, trying something new, stretching themselves, and it shows in their music, and they're incredibly talented because like they hit with all of them,
Right.
So,
right.
So what did you think about this album?
So we spent a lot of time with this album. We had a friend who this album was basically on repeat in his car every time we were in there.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time on this. Obviously, the songs that stick out are Dixie Wolf, The Seduction of, the callbacks, like we already talked about, Attack of the Dungeon Witch. It just hits so hard. That was like the Southern song. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's got those Southern riffs. But then you get to China White 2. And the interesting thing about the China White series is the first one, you've got a mix, right? You've got like the slower and the heavy and stuff like that. China White 2 is just full heavy,
Yeah.
and it's just aggressive. And I again, like there's just so much good to be said about this kind of stuff. It goes all the way till the end. Goldie's Torn Locks is an incredible song
Yeah.
as well.
So,
Like you can go through the whole thing.
like Mushroom River is one of my
Yeah.
favorite songs off the album because it is so grimy and
Yes.
stuff. Like it's sludgy. Like this is like a southern sludge metal song, but then you get to the chorus and you're just like, man, it's so good. Like it totally changes. It totally changes the sound in the chorus because it's this like cool groovy rock chorus and his vocals sound awesome in it. And
Yeah.
I don't know another band that can flip a switch as fast as they can.
It's really weird how they can go in and out of things just effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have to build up to things. You don't really have to like set things up. They just go and it just flows so well.
Yeah. So, finishing up this album, from what I read, like we said, there was a bunch of stuff almost didn't get released. They were about to break up. This album was in 2006. I don't remember. I know we saw them on this album release. I don't remember who it was with.
I've got their tours up here. They played in Salt Lake in January, so that would have been before this with Story of the Year, He Is Legend, and Every Time I Die. That was at Club Ice.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was. I think they came back pretty quick after. Yeah, they came back in June with The Fall of Troy and Showbread.
That's right. That's right. Because that's where I saw Showbread. Because that's the poetry guy.
Yeah. So they came back during like pretty quick after. Yeah. And I think that was the tour release for the album.
Okay. Yeah. So I just, I wish I would have given it more of a chance. I think in 2006, I'm starting to experiment with like pretty heavy music.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this one just like wasn't as heavy as I'm Hollywood, felt like it couldn't live up to I'm Hollywood, and I just didn't give it the chance it deserved.
The one thing about it that I appreciate it more now, it just wasn't as fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Seduction, I Am Hollywood, all of those songs are so fast.
Right.
And like that's what was like really keeping my attention at the time. We were still listening to a lot of like pop punk, all of that kind of stuff. And so when you start to get, I wasn't listening to like doom metal, sludge metal, stoner rock. You know what I mean? I wasn't listening to any of that kind of stuff. I thought it was stupid, honestly. So there was like a group of songs that I loved on this album, but a group of songs that I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
So that's where I fell in 2006 with it. Today, it's great. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Probably my second favorite album.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah. So then after that, 3 years later, they come out with It Hates You. So everything from It Hates You, Heavy Fruit, and Few, this is actually the first time I've listened to these albums all the way through.
Oh, interesting.
I did not listen to It Hates You in 2009 when it came out.
Okay.
I think I'd just kind of been done with them because, again, Suck Out the Poison didn't hit with me.
Well, it was that, and then, like you said, there was the Dragon Force show where they were just plastered.
Yeah.
And so, like, their stage performance wasn't anything that we were, like, overly interested in as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think we just kind of.
I mean, I did
outgrew them because it's like now I've grown back into them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like it wasn't me in 2009, you know.
I did listen to this all the way through in 2009. I didn't listen to it often, but I listened to it a time or two. So,
Well, so
but
what do you think about it then?
you know, it's really interesting going online and reading how many people say that this album is like God's gift to the world. Like that's
Yeah,
how I feel about I Am Hollywood.
right.
Like I Am Hollywood was the gift that we deserved from He Is Legend. This album to me, like I get why people say it, like their experiment, like the experimental aspect of it, being able to really magnify those transitions of
Mhm.
like heavy, aggressive to like soft, bluesy, jazzy, all of that kind of stuff. It's probably the most well composed album to this
Yeah,
point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But the songs didn't catch me like even Suck Out the Poison did.
right.
You know, at this point, like I said, I have to separate I Am Hollywood from the rest of He Is Legend's discography. I just have to. That album is just gone. If I take this album with everything, like I said, it's in line with Suck Out the Poison for me. It's great.
See,
It's a really good album.
I don't think musically it is though. I think I'm Hollywood and Suck Out the Poison are in their own little categories here, and then It Hates You, Heavy Fruit, and Few are kind of categorized together. Listening through this, It Hates You, I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
Um, it's super catchy. Like you said, it is probably the most well composed album that they put together. Party Time, when like the woman is singing,
Yeah.
like that's such a cool touch to a band like this, right?
Right.
Because it really adds in this like storytelling dynamic when you have like another person in there singing it or whatever. Um, the Southern riffs got really cool. It's not as heavy, but like I'm fine with it. Like now at 34, like I'm fine with it, right? Like it's
Yeah.
something that I could put on and listen to while I was working, and it was fine. I also think that like this is the first one out of the next 2 or 3 that I feel like they experimented with their sound and they did it right. So it's unique to me, right? This is like their first intro into this type of rock that they're making. They did it well. It's super catchy. I really like it. The next 2, I maybe say a little less because it just feels like this album redone a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
They were trying to kind of recapture some of that magic for
yeah.
sure. No, I'm right there with you. They started to lean into more of just like the heavy rock sound
Yeah.
on this. They start to pull a little bit of like the breakdowns and like that really aggressive. Like I said, he had like a deathcore vocalist screams for a
Right.
minute there. And they don't lose all of that, but they lose some of it.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's what like so again the point that I was trying to make, maybe I can say it better here, is like I don't have an issue with this album because it felt like they were trying something new and they did it well. But when we get into like Heavy Fruit and Few, to me it feels like He's Legend kind of lost what they were a little bit. Not that it was bad. Again, it's good music, but like if you had put a different band's name on there, like I don't know how much I would have listened to these. I don't know if I would have given it that much of a chance.
oh,
Just
I
because it's
wouldn't
not my
have.
kind of music, right?
To be honest, if they were under a different band name, I would not have touched those albums.
Right.
And it's again, it's not because they're bad. It's just like I honestly like didn't have the bandwidth to
Yeah.
like I like He Is Legend. That's why I gave him
Yeah.
a chance.
But it just the like especially Heavy Fruit and Few just didn't feel like He Is Legend. There wasn't
Yeah.
these random tempo changes, random changes from catchy choruses to heavy breakdowns. And I don't even care if it's as aggressive as I Am Hollywood is, because when we get into White Bat, they bring that back, but it's not as heavy. It's not as aggressive as I Am Hollywood is, but it felt like He Is Legend, right? Because you had these really poppy, cool choruses that just switch on a flip or
Yeah.
flip on a switch. I don't know. But I felt like It Hates You, Heavy Fruit, and Few, they just don't do that anymore. But I'm okay with it in It Hates You because it was new to me. But the other 2, I don't really have an excuse for that, right?
You know, I think I'm kind of flipping through Heavy Fruit right now. And by the way, we're just kind of moving on. Do you want to talk about anything between?
No, I think we can talk about these 3 albums together. You know,
Okay,
I know we
okay.
spent more time on It Hate You, but we just jump into the rest of those
I
other
didn't
2.
really look at why. Do you know why they started to kind of break up in 2009 or go on indefinite hiatus or anything?
No, but they flipped through band members quite a bit. So
Did
probably
they? I
just,
felt like there was like 3 who were pretty consistent, and it was really like there was a guitarist who kind of changed a lot, and then the drummer. They only switched drummers once, from what I
yeah,
remember, but I might
okay.
be off with that.
I mean, most of them though, like, and maybe that's part of what this big sound change was after um, Suck Out the Poison. So maybe that's what leads into this a little more. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't get specifics on why people left or whatever. Or
Yeah.
why they didn't hate us.
So I'm flipping through some of the stuff right now, and it is what I remember about Heavy Fruit. And I listened to these albums a couple of times. It's more of a chill album.
Yeah.
Like
Except
it really.
really dark though.
What was that?
I feel like I feel like Heavy Fruit is really dark and sludgy, but it's way more chill.
Yeah, exactly. But like you're not pitting to this
Right.
at all.
Right.
You're in there and you're rocking back and forth and hoping that the drugs don't hit you wrong, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a very sludge stoner rock. This is where they really started to pull that influence. And this isn't the style of music I'm really into. This is like what I would expect your mom to listen to.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
You're laughing at me, but your mom used to listen to like Seether and like Chevelle and like these guys aren't Chevelle, right? But you start to
like Chevelle and stuff. Yeah.
You're starting to get towards that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I bet if you handed your mom the albums, this would be the album she'd gravitate towards.
It's coming out in a couple of weeks. I'll try it and see what she
says.
It.
Do it. You tell me how that goes. Experiment on your mom.
So. I mean, that sounds weird. Don't say that. So Bethos Art.
Yeah.
I really like that song from Heavy Fruit. I wish that they kind of would have leaned into the ambient stuff a little more, because like the ambient stoner stuff in that song is really cool.
Yeah.
But then Abracadabra, like, this is what's crazy about them though, and this is why like I get confused by some of these albums. Did you listen to like Abracadabra and you're like, yep, that's a He's Legend song through and through. Yeah. But then all other 11 songs, and by the way, I didn't make these comments on the other albums, but like some of these albums got way too long. Like,
okay, I was going to ask you about that. It's hard. Like, especially in today's world where we're listening to 30-minute albums and stuff, listening to a 55-minute album, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
And I listened to them multiple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I zoned out. I'll be honest. Like, there's times I zoned out on some of this stuff.
Yeah. I think It Hates You has like 2 7-minute songs. It's like, no, like you can have one, maybe. I think a 7-minute song in any case is probably not warranted. So
I'm with you. He is Legend has like the longest songs that like I'm comfortable with. You know what I mean? Once it starts getting much longer than this, I'm not too much of a fan. But like you go back to I Am Hollywood, and they're like 4 minutes. It was like perfect. You know what I mean? Like a 4-minute song on like this style, it's great. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't give me 5+.
Yeah. So it's all right. So Few comes out 2017. So they go on a hiatus, come back, write this album. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it. Sand is an incredible song. That's really the only highlight I have on Few.
And it's such a heavy riff opening. It's nasty. Like you would expect that on like, I don't even know where to put them. Like a Crowbar show or something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that opening riff of just like dun to dun to dun. Like it's just aggressive.
Yeah. But then they don't do anything else with it.
I know.
But I love Sand. I think the chorus in it is one of the best choruses they've written
Yeah. I like Air Raid too. Like the first couple songs are good on this album. This was a crowd-funded album.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is 100% He Is Legend. And I mean, you could probably say that about all their albums. I don't think that they ever really tried to formulate it a specific way. But when you're doing a crowd-funded album, this is what you want to play.
Yeah.
And you kind of hear that in there. They go a lot of different directions, like we were talking about with Sand, that super gnarly opening riff into a easy singing part. It's a weird throw off.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So yeah,
I mean, like I said, it's good. It's just my only issue with Few and my only issue with Heavy Fruit is it's like I don't feel like these were really good He Is Legend albums. I feel like they're good albums. Like they're good. The songs are fine. We've talked about this with other bands. The songs are fine. They've got a couple bangers on the albums, and then it's just like it's the rest of the album is just it is what it is. You know,
yeah,
like I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to write home about it. You know,
right. So the one thing that I was reading online is like a lot of people who are diehard He Is Legends fans were like, I'll listen to everything except for Fritz the Dog. Like that song, they're just like,
oh yeah,
not listen to Fritz the Dog because the third line of the song is, "I'll be the first one to shit on your lawn." They're just they're like, I could get down with a lot of stuff. That line is just weird.
Yeah.
So
they've all got weird stuff like that intro song to He's Legend. Or
yeah,
He's Legend. What the F is wrong with me? Heavy Fruit. Oh, I'm having like a little.
yeah.
But even then, like the lyrics to that intro one, it's just like,
Yeah, agreed.
I'm
But then like the last song on here, The Garden, like it's a callback to everything we're talking about, you know. You talk about Gardner, you talk about the China White series, all that kind of stuff. To name a song The Garden, you know what I mean? Like it all comes back around and they're kind of keeping it in there.
Yeah. His vocals get kind of weird in that one, but I don't know. Those, especially the last two albums, like I would listen to it. Like you said, I would kind of like zone out a little bit. And then I would catch myself being like, oh, this is okay. This is kind of cool. And then like I would just zone out again. Next album, 2019, they come out with White Bat. And I remember when this album came out because I was like, oh, that's random. Like, I'll go listen to a new He Is Legend album. And then I heard the first song, White Bat, and I was like, they're back. You know?
Yeah.
It's so good. Like that intro where it's like the super chaotic drumming and guitar riff, and then it goes just right into like the most picture perfect He Is Legend verse. It's incredible. So
yes, no, 100%. I agree with that. And this is what I was starting to talk about. Like, I didn't listen to White Bat when it initially came out, so I kind of got lost at Few, you know. And then I listened to Endless Hallway, and after going from Few to Endless Hallway, I was like, I don't need to go listen to White Bat. And then when we decided to do these guys and going and listening, I was like, okay, White Bat's fantastic.
It is. This felt like a He Is Legend album. Like they brought back the weirdness, they brought back the chaoticness, they brought back the great Southern riffs, and like it's still a little sludgy and grimy, but it got back to being super chaotic and
yes,
it's incredible.
Yes, I mean you go to like Eye Teeth, and stuff. And like that song, like you said, it's just those weird riffs and stuff, but it's just it's great.
I just can't get over like White Bat is maybe my second favorite song of theirs.
Just overall. It can't be number two because there's The Seduction and I Am Hollywood. Like those will forever be the top two.
Yeah, but I might put White Bat above The Seduction.
Oh, no way.
It's so weird, dude. Like the part where like in the beginning where he's like laughing during like
I get it.
And then like the chorus is great. the like random breakdown in the middle, but then that last breakdown, dude,
Oh
where he's
yeah.
like, they call me White Bat. Don't like ever forget that or whatever. And like the weird like demon speaking where he's like white bat. Like it's so random and it's incredible, dude. It's so good.
Right. Dude, it's gnarly. And the one thing I was reading too is like, again, like obviously these guys were not Christian, right?
Right.
But they were major concerned about their lack of exposure and feeling like they weren't being played on like Sirius XM, Octane, getting the tours and stuff like that. This Burn All Your Rock records, it's like it's almost like they're called like Bible thumping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like without saying it, you know what I mean? Like I feel like this was a bit of like their like this is rock and roll and we're gonna make you mad.
Dude, it's such a good song. Even
It's
this
just like
feels like
dirty
Pinnacle
rock and roll, you
Yeah.
know?
Even this feels Pinnacle he's on. Same with When the Woods Were Young.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 songs on this album, when I listened to them, I was just like, this like they're back. Like this is what He Is Legend is to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like the random, like the really fast, catchy, like they're hitting like the tambourine on the drums and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then like the chorus is just this amazing, like beautiful sung chorus. And then it's got some like heavy breakdowns in it. And
Yeah.
it's Pinnacle He's Legend to me.
Right. That going from super fast to slowed down like almost bridge, like that is like what captures He Is Legend in my opinion, you know? So
And then Bent. Bent
oh
is one
yeah.
of my favorite songs on the album. Again, the chorus is just like they just know how to write the catchiest choruses.
Yeah, see, and this stuff, it just starts to get so sludgy,
Yeah.
you know?
And
It starts to get like so grimy. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but like I said, when I first listened to some of this stuff, I was just like, I don't know if I like it,
yeah.
but I don't know if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like
not-
that's this album though. This album's much better. Like this is, like I said, I Am Hollywood, then Suck Out the Poison, It Hates You, and this are like that second tier for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I agree. Like this feels like the best accumulation of everything they've done.
I agree.
Right. Like I think
agree.
that they added in all the elements that made them and put it into an album and they did a great job on this album. And like I was really excited to talk about them because I was like, any excuse to go back to listen to this album too. I pop this album on. Like I'll usually play like I Am Hollywood and then go right into this album.
Yeah.
And like it's just awesome. Like I don't know. I wish they would have played White Bat when we saw him at Furnace Fest.
They didn't have time.
Cool, but
I mean, when you have 55-minute albums and you have a 50-minute set time.
no. So, then anything else you want to say about White Bat?
No, man. Like you should be listening to it. That's what I'll say about it.
Then the next album, Endless Hallway. So this came out 2 years ago. And
Okay. Okay.
Let's hear what you have to say. Because
No, man.
look,
I want to hear what you have to say.
you said some pretty
I baited.
a pretty insane hot take on his legend, and I am gonna make you say that on air so it's recorded. Especially because you did eat your words a little bit on this. But is this why you said that? Was it this album?
It was this album.
Okay.
It was
So
this
what did you
album.
say? Let's hear. Tell the world your take on this.
I will read it verbatim for you. Let me go back and find this. Let's see what this says. What did I send to you? Man, where was it? We text too freaking much.
Did we text that much?
There's a chance He Is Legend has written some of the worst music in the scene.
Yeah, dude, that's the worst take. That's worse than anything I've ever said. All right, so why did this album prompt you to have that terrible take?
Okay, listen. And I've listened to this album probably the most over the last few days. to try and find out what was so bothersome to me. And the thing is, after listening to it about 5 or 6 times, I actually really like the majority of the music. I
Okay.
like the music. I hate some of his vocals.
Okay.
Absolutely despise some of the vocals on here. Like, I'm trying to even think. I think it's in Return to the Garden. Oh yeah, Return to the Garden, where he's just like, it's so bad. And the thing is, like, I actually don't mind that song. Like, it's actually a pretty good song, other than this, like, it's almost like a Muppet
It's
trying
like,
to play music.
this is He Is Legend making a Korn album.
Yes. Okay. It's Rob Zombie meets Korn meets Gent meets like Tony Danza tap dance extravaganza at times.
Yeah. No, dude, I hear that. I'm not a huge fan of it.
You know what? And it's funny. I actually really like the music. I really like how heavy it is. It is heavy at times. You listen to Lifeless Lemonade, like I said, that's a straight up Gent with a Tony Danza sweeping part in there. Like,
that Gent song.
It's gnarly. And then the song Sour is a great song. That is like the most close to like what I would expect He's Legend to be.
Yeah.
You got kind of this weird twangy guitar at the first, and then it much more poppy,
right?
Much more just rock and roll. You know what I mean? And he sings very well.
I think that was maybe like a big draw on why we liked He's Legend, and it's a bummer Josh isn't here, but it's like very heavy without being like straight up heavy. You know what I mean?
This one was straight up heavy.
It's not a beat down. Like, this isn't beat down, but it's like you can just tell that it's like a dark, heavy.
This album was just heavy.
Yeah.
They went in on this album. Those first 2 songs, like you said, it's straight up like a Korn album at the beginning. You know what I mean? And it's just, it gets up there. It gets really heavy.
Yeah.
But the back half of this album, it starts to like Sour, like we just talked about. The Endless Hallway, that's another very just like rock song.
I don't like that song at all.
Yeah.
It feels like Endless Hallways feels like a gimmicky Halloween song to me.
It does. It feels, that was definitely like their try at radio rock.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean?
Time's Fake is a good song.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, and maybe this is maybe it's the same issue I had with like Suck Out the Poison, is like you go from an album like White Bat into this and it's like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No, I agree. And like I said, I've just listened to it so much. I can actually appreciate the music on it now that I've listened to it more. The vocals really got me. Yeah. But there's like parts in it where they almost like try to go like Sun Ho on it, where it's just like as heavy, just like noise as you can make, like trying to blow your speakers out almost. Yeah. You know? And like, I don't know, like it's different. It's different for them.
It's different.
Yeah. And so like I kind of like it. You know what I mean? Like it might be some of the worst music ever written, but I kind of like it. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, in the genre that this is, it's not even in the bottom half of some of the worst stuff out there. So,
dude, Return to the freaking Garden.
No, I get it, man. Like Circus is one of the worst songs that they've ever written. But
dude, like, it's just like I listen to it, I'm just like, this belongs in a Rob Zombie movie.
Same with Circus, where it's like
no, like this album, like the album, yeah. Like it belongs in like Rob Zombie movies.
It's a Rob Zombie Korn album. It's weird.
So, but no, I mean overall, like if I was to literally like go through and rank the albums, like I Am Hollywood is definitely number 1. It's tough because I actually have like White Bat It's like Wipe At It and Suck Out the Poison are number 2. It Hates You is 3 for me. But then I probably put 90125, and then I probably put Endless Hallway. I didn't care for Few, and I really
Seriously?
didn't care for Heavy Fruit. Like Heavy Fruit was just it's just too sludgy for me. Like there's nothing in that album that really, really catches me.
Yeah.
And there are some things, at least in Endless Hallway, that catch me. Fuse
Yeah.
maybe above Endless Hallway. They're kind of neck and neck for me.
Yeah. So I'm doing I'm Hollywood number 1. Like you said, Suck Out the Poison and Wipe At are tied at 2.
Yeah. You
And then
can't put one above the other.
I don't think you can. I
No.
don't think you can. It Hates You is next. And then I am going to do probably Few and then Heavy. Nah, I don't know. Heavy Fruit and Few are interchangeable or the same.
Okay.
And then Endless Hallway. I don't like it. I mean, I tried to give the rest of their albums credit. I just
Yeah.
keep doing Endless Hallway.
And this really actually shows kind of like our differences at this point, because I love a lot of like really heavy, gross music right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Endless Hallway kind of fits into that for me. I'm just like, I'm not really like a sludge guy, you know? And that's what I felt like Heavy Fruit was.
I'm not either. But there's parts to Heavy Fruit with like some of the ambient stuff and things like that like the more melodic parts
Yes.
that they get into. Like,
and I would take the more genty Tony Danza style over that more ambient stuff. Like that's where you and I differ, right? Like as much as you like that kind of ambient, heady stuff, I'm like, just pound my ears out right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so, but no, overall, like I adore He Is Legend. Like you said, I Am Hollywood. I don't even know how to quantify it. It is like such just a monumental album, in my opinion. Like, I love it. And dude, like, we listen to a lot of crap. And this is like up there. Yeah. So,
yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And what was cool was seeing them at Furnace Fest and the amount of love they got. Like, it was packed. You could barely mosh for them. It was so packed. And like, it's a band that I think everybody is going to be able to find something that they can appreciate.
Exactly.
Right? Because like, I get, if you're this like crazy hardcore kid, like you only listen to like straight up hardcore, like there's no way that you can listen to I'm Hollywood and not appreciate it for what it is.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you're this like insane death metal, whatever type of guy, you're going to relate to Heavy Fruit with the sludge sound. And like, everybody is going to find something in He Is Legend where they're like, I get that, you know? And that says a lot about the band. 'Cause again, all these bands that we've talked about that have changed their sound that have not been good, looking at you, Under Oath, and we're going to keep calling them out until they just figure it out. But it's
until they just only play.
Yeah.
They're only chasing safety.
Go back to writing that music. But what I was saying is just
find the great line.
Like, He Is Legend didn't do that. Like, to me, He Is Legend is on the same level as like Thrice, where they changed their sound multiple times, but they did it right.
You know what? There's times where like
any Thrice album on and you're like, yep, that's Thrice 100%.
Well, and the thing is, like, you listen to songs on like It Hates You and they sound like Thrice because they get bluesy and they get into that kind of, again, post-hardcore blues feel. Like they really did capture so many sounds and did them so well. Yeah. So no, great band, great choice. I was beyond thrilled to see I Am Hollywood front to back.
Yeah. So I think they're releasing it on vinyl. I think they're doing another vinyl.
Oh, no way.
I think it's in January. I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered it. I'll have to look because I think I asked someone.
I will have to go and find that right now. And I've just bought like 10 vinyls over the last month. So I feel bad doing another one, but I can't miss that one.
Yeah. So and then I know they're playing in Dallas on Sunday, but I'm missing it because they're playing
Or
with
Will
Haste
to
today
Live. Yeah.
and Living Sacrifice. I'm gonna go to Will to Live. I just saw if I hadn't just seen He Is Legend, I probably would be at that show.
Yeah,
So
100%. So dope. Great band. Good pickup.
yeah.
We'll be back next week with Interview with Interpersonal,
Mhm.
which again, another band that just they do their sound. And
Yeah.
it's great. So
For reals. So
dope. Cool, man. Well, anything else from you?
nope. That's all I got. all I
Sweet.
got.
We'll catch y'all next week.
All right. Peace.
Peace.